that. We're going to break down the 2 Monday night blowouts from last night, obviously. Big Game Boomer joins us to rank the top 5 hardest college football stadiums to play at, and Braves second baseman Ozzie Albies will miss the rest of the season right after coming off injury reserve. I'm Jay Crane. It's Tuesday. Welcome to Crane & Company. Now, there are aspects of every job that get way too much credit and also way too much blame depending on the circumstance. That is no different in football coaching. And while there are many misconceptions, the biggest one, in my opinion, is play calling. Now, that isn't to say that play calling isn't important. We all know it's a vital piece. But compared to, let's say, talent or the ability to bring in talented recruiting classes and multiple guys that can play at a high level, it does take a back seat. Now, the easiest way to win is to have the most talented players that are coached up. And there have been many play callers on both sides of the ball that have just been okay. But since they had great players, they look like savants or Da Vinci's. Now, on the flip side, there are some absolute genius game planners and play callers that look foolish because the players just aren't good enough. If it was only about scheme, every team that ever won anything would basically just run the same stuff. Now, this game will always be won by players while coaches watch and talk. You don't have to be the smartest X's and O's head coach to have success either if you know how to hire the right coordinators and strength coach. The greatest attribute a dominant college football coach like Nick Saban has isn't his rip-liz match coverage or being able to disguise with the safeties what they're doing until the last second to confuse the quarterback. It's his ability to bring in the best players year after year and then have a good enough scheme to make them nearly unbeatable. Kirby Smart and Georgia are running the exact same play right now. And again, I don't want to downplay how great some play callers and game planners are, especially when they go off script. But talent will always outweigh scheme. Let me say that again. Talent will always outweigh scheme. But the trick is to get both. I'm going to go ahead and bring in David Cohn, former Michigan quarterback, my brother, former Western Colorado wide receiver. And guys, speaking about the best, or the best way to get both, DraftKings Sportsbook are good partners over there, sponsors over there. It is a legal gambling state, and you want to gamble on sports, whether it's team props, player props, same game parlays, we have a heck of a deal I'm going to get to in a minute, but I want to say something. Last week, you know me, I'm an avid degenerate football gambler. I look, there's a spread that has UCLA plus 13.5 at home against South Alabama. It's obviously a typo. It's not right. I jumped right on it, threw some on there. DraftKings could have deleted the bet because it was a typo. They didn't. They kept it up there, and they paid me out for it. And to me, that's walking the walk. A lot of people talk the talk. That's walking the walk, and I got a lot of respect for DraftKings from that. And
DraftKings.
You as well.
Yeah, I'm on it right now, man. Major League Baseball tonight.
Yeah, MLB baseball.
So. Great.
Yeah.
After those 3 beautiful days of betting football, I have to bet the A's. Great. Can't wait.
But if you're going to bet the A's, there's only one place, that's DraftKings Sportsbook. So go download the Sportsbook app now. Use promo code BOOSTER, that's BOOSTER, and you get $200 in free bets instantly. Like that. Thanos, snap the finger. Congrats, you're rich. When you place a $5 bet on any football game, so that's $200 once you place a $5 bet. But you have to use code BOOSTER, BOOSTER, only at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. Minimum age and eligibility restrictions apply. See show notes for details. Speaking about show notes, though, Cone, play calling. You were a quarterback. We know what's important. You know what else is the most important? Having really good players. You know what makes plays work good? Having great players. It'll always be like that. That doesn't mean you can't be aloof or you can't, not know what protections to call or have good route combinations or have answers for things. But again, you can hide more with great players than you can trying just to trick everybody every week.
Yeah, no doubt. My strategy, if I was coaching, would to be get the best players and then hire the best play callers and always game plan the best.
There you
that
go.
Seems like a good strategy.
That's the best strategy.
One thing when I was listening to what you were saying is every level of football is different.
Yep.
Right. So obviously the head coach of an NFL team may not be the general manager. He may not be responsible for bringing in players. In which case, yeah, you better be scheming up the game plan to a T. This is why guys like Sean McVay get hired. I mean, there's still a reason why Steve Sarkisian and Lane Kiffin are guys who get hired at places because they give you an advantage on one side of the ball. I mean, play calling, you were talking about play calling, that's just one facet of game planning.
For sure.
And game planning is just one facet of trying to outcoach your opponent. Like in high school, for instance, we played teams with superior talent and more athleticism than us all the time. We play Atlanta schools, we'd go and we'd drum them because we were more disciplined and we had better coaches. So that's, when the coaching gets tighter and tighter, then that's when the talent takes off. Like I had a buddy coaching at Tennessee and he was like, I'm calling the exact same zone read that Alabama's calling, but their zone read, this is when Derrick Henry was playing, their zone read looks a lot different than mine. Like, that's what he said.
That's the best point, too, because, again, when you look at the levels, like the difference in the worst team in the NFL and the best team in the NFL from a player talent standpoint isn't nearly as big as the worst team in Division I college football compared to the best team. And that's why I do think in the NFL, you see everybody you kind of recycle coaches, and a lot of people run similar things. And you're right, when the talent is even, or the talent is close enough where the play calling and the game planning can be the most effective, then yes, it is a huge part. But if you are competent in preparing for a game, if you are competent in calling plays, whether the first 12 to 15 plays are scripted, and then you go off script, because that's when you really find out about a play caller. Once that script ends, once they get to that last call, all right, play 15. Look, we still haven't ran our slip screen yet. Let's go to it. And then you're just playing the game. Then after that, you're playing the game, you're looking on the call sheet. But it is trying to get that perfect mix. It's that perfect blend. But I would much rather have talent and be simple schematically, have answers but be simple, than have to go out there and find a way to Where's Waldo this thing every single week against teams that have more talent than we have. So again, it is a perfect blend. But I think when people say, oh, well, Jimbo Fisher doesn't know what he's doing, or Bill O'Brien doesn't know what he's doing. And I think we look at play callers like in 1 year and be like, oh, the offense isn't good this year, he must be a terrible play caller. No, he's been calling plays for 20 years. Like, Jimbo Fisher knows how to call plays. Like, it's not like Jimbo Fisher looks out there and he's like, guys, I don't know. Outside zone, what are they in? I've got no idea. That's not how it works. Bill O'Brien knows how to call plays. A lot of it is dictated by circumstance and how good the personnel is, because at the end of the day, you are not playing. And that doesn't take responsibility away from the coaches, especially in college, where you recruit the players. Mm-hmm. You bring them in. And I will say, most head coaches in the NFL do have a pretty big say on what players come in, what players get drafted. Very rarely do you see a situation where they're just like, Coach, you stay over there and you just draw up plays. All right, just know we're going to draft a fast guy in the second.
Well, again, you can call up, you can be a good play caller, quote unquote, and have had a bad game plan that week.
That's exactly
what I mean?
right.
Like, that's what I'm saying. Play calling is only one aspect of game planning. This is why when you saw, like, let's say Bill Belichick in that Super Bowl against Sean McVay, where Sean McVay is running these offensive schemes all the way through the season, they're blowing everyone out. That was back when the Rams had Todd Gurley too, and then they get in the Super Bowl and you run into someone who is schematically just superior to you on the defensive side. He knows how to game plan for those weaknesses. So I don't know what necessarily Bill Belichick's calling every single play on defense, but they had the right game plan to take care of the Rams' offensive.
Yeah, and you know this. I mean, football too, especially the higher you go, is about matchups.
That's what I'm
you're
saying.
Scheming and game.
Take care
planning.
of the weakest link.
That's exactly right. Trying to exploit weaknesses. It's like, invading somebody, trying to invade them at their weak spots and then take over. Blaine, speaking about taking over.
What's up?
What's going on with you over there?
How y'all doing? I
Good,
like the conversation.
Yeah, how's it going? How's your morning?
Look, I'm just in the chat. Chat's talking about how mid Kirk Cousins is. So I'm having a great.
Let's go ahead and
I'm having a great.
Let's go ahead and talk about this.
And I didn't even bring it up. They brought it up.
Well, I mean,
it's like a thing now, which is pretty cool to see.
It's one game, and I'm just glad to see after you trashed Jalen Hurts and decided to pick.
Didn't trash Jalen Hurts. I love how you just immediately go to trashed.
I'm gonna get into that.
Like trash.
I'm gonna let Cam get in that. I heard words like he can't throw good. Wait, here's the real question. What's wrong with the Titans? Oh wait, let me think. Now I remember. Ryan Tannehill's struggling, and the offensive line and the defense aren't normally what they are. Watching Derrick Henry last night run the ball, and is Derrick Henry the most fleet-of-foot guy? Is he the most quick-twitch guy ever? No. But he was having to stop his feet behind the line of scrimmage multiple times. They couldn't get anything going. Every time they ran the toss to Derrick Henry, it was literally like the whole city of Buffalo was in the backfield. I can't believe they ran it 3 times. As somebody that had him on his fantasy team, he'd get 4 yards, they'd run a toss the next play and lose 4 yards. The inconsistency up front, I know Von Miller is an absolute witch coming off the edge, but the Titans aren't pushing anybody around on the offensive line or the defensive line. I know the Bills are really good offensively. Josh Allen, Stephon Diggs, basically like they were playing by themselves last night. Stephon Diggs had an all-time night. But the Titans, and it shocks me, with a Mike Vrabel coach team, and I know Taylor Lewan got hurt. I hope he's fine. But the lack of physicality, from the Titans is baffling to me. And Ryan Tannehill is not good enough to overcome having deficiencies at those spots. Treylon Burks, a few nice plays last night. It just seems like the Titans are not explosive on offense, and they're not overtly physical and don't set the tone on defense, which is the Titans' whole game. It's their whole game. Explosive run plays, play action, hit you deep, intermediate across the middle on defense, suffocate you, get you in 3rd and long, and bring the heat. And they just don't look like the Titans.
Well, if you're a Titans fan, it's easy to watch that game last night and say, see, Ryan Tannehill's just not the guy, especially when he's going up against Josh Allen, right? It's easy to see that because one of those guys is better. And I certainly don't think the Titans are going to be the best team in the National Football League until they get one of those elite-type quarterbacks, because that's where we are in football right now, especially in the National Football League. But at the same time, the Titans have been really, really good the past few seasons, even with Ryan Tannehill at quarterback, mostly because they have an elite defense, an elite running game, and then they play disciplined football. You saw last night with the fumbled punt, right? That's an example. That's an example of something you haven't seen in a while. Obviously, Taylor Lewan going out, Tannehill's backside not protected, obviously not opening up holes for Derrick Henry. But then also with the A.J. Brown piece missing him, I think Treylon Burks has a chance to be a great wide receiver for the Tennessee Titans, but he's not going to come in and be A.J. Brown right away. So when you combine all of those problems and you're going up against maybe the best team in football right now, quite possibly, it just didn't look good.
Yeah, and Blaine, you got to, to me, I think you have to take both games into account as well. I mean, what happened to you against the Giants at home? I mean, you were pushed around when it mattered the most. Saquon went for what, 160?
Yeah, that's
the Titans?
The biggest difference to me, realistically. I mean, the weapons on offense just aren't there right now. I mean, you got Robert Woods, you got a young Treylon Burks, you got Phillips, who's decent but young. He dropped another punt. That's 2 games in a row. But the run defense, Titans last year, the runs, they did extremely good against the run defensively, and that kept in them most of the games. Their defense carried that team. And now they're just getting whooped between the tackles. I mean, realistically, they are. You saw the Bills could do whatever they want. And I know you can't really base a game off the Bills. The Bills look like the best team in the NFL. Right?
They do.
In my opinion, their defense is settled in. Josh Allen looking like an MVP candidate. And Stephon Diggs, a true wide receiver 1. But I go back to that Giants game, and exactly what you said. You give a 150 plus to Saquon Barkley. The Giants haven't done that with him for a long time. The last team I really expect to see that against will probably be the Rams, someone with Aaron Donald, and the Tennessee Titans, just with the head coach, what Vrabel is and what they kind of stand for and who they are. So I'm worried about this Titans team. I don't think Malik Willis will come in and fix it all. He won't. The defense is not the same, but they have to figure it out on the defensive side of the ball, because if they don't, it will be a long season for the Titans.
Yeah, they can't get in shootouts and wins. They're not built like that. They're built to lean on you, and then the levee and the dam breaks about halfway through the 3rd quarter, and Derrick Henry ends up running for 100 yards in between halfway through the 3rd and they're in the 4th. Before we get to the Eagles, man, what's the chat saying?
Mike RFF Lifestyle, what's up, Mikey? Hashtag Ask Crane and Company. If you had a choice, would you take Justin Jefferson or Tyreek Hill on your fantasy team?
For the season or for like this next matchup coming up?
I would say, it'd be for the season.
Yeah, I'd say for the season. I would go Tyreek. I would go Tyreek just because there's so many ways to get him the ball. And again, you're splitting hairs here. I know Justin didn't have the best game last night. We'll get into that. Adam Thielen did lead him, I think, with like 80 yards or something. Glad I didn't play him. Shout out Cortland Sutton. I would take Tyreek just because of how dynamic he is with the jet sweep, and you can put him in there in the return game if you have to, and things like that. Justin Jefferson, look, the Packers didn't cover Justin Jefferson the first game. The only people from the Packers that covered Justin Jefferson were the beat writers in Green Bay after the game, talking about how the Packers didn't cover Justin Jefferson. I just think Tyreek Hill gets used in a different way. I think he ends up getting more touches because I think you're going to see teams just continue and really start to focus in on bracketing Justin Jefferson. Because when you look at the Vikings, until Adam Thielen comes out and you're like, all right, Adam Thielen's scaring me again, because he didn't get those catches really until garbage time anyway. I know he had a really good preseason. As for Miami, not only do you have Tyreek Hill, you've got Jalen Waddle, who just went nuts on the other side, and Mike Gesicki in there at tight end, who's also a problem in the seam. So the Dolphins can really even you out as long as that run game can keep being somewhat productive. I mean, the amount of modified runs they have with Tyreek Hill, I mean, especially on 3rd and shorts, they just run pick plays to him, and it's a race to the outside, kind of like the Chiefs do with McCole Hardman at the goal line, where they motion him. All right, you're in man, you motion with him. We're just going to have a race to the pylon, and we're going to win because we're faster than you, and that's science and math put together.
Yeah, it was so cool to see that Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill could both go off for that many points in fantasy football because you can't double both of them, right?
You can't.
I mean, that was the thinking. Well, let's maybe stay away from Tyreek Hill this year. He doesn't have Patrick Mahomes anymore, and Jalen Waddle's going to get a lot of touches. But you saw the way that they were able to spread the ball around to both of them, which was really cool. Now, what you're talking about with Adam Thielen in Minnesota, that's been the case the last couple seasons, right? Like, because they have had such a dynamic offense. Similar with Jamar Chase in Cincinnati, is that there are other weapons on that
T. Higgins
team.
went off last week.
Went off. He had to, because just like Blaine brought up yesterday, they were bracketing Jamar Chase. So you can only do that with one of those guys. How are you going to do that in Miami? Which
That's
one?
true.
Which one are you going to? Which one are you going to double?
And it's funny too. Remember, we were talking about everybody was like, "All right, who's just going to hurt worse when Tyreek Hill leads, Patrick Mahomes or Tyreek Hill?" Turns out both of them are fine.
Yeah.
Turns out both of them are really good football
Which
players.
is not surprising.
They just happen to be on the same team.
All right, David. Cody Nason, 95, hashtag Ask Crane and Company. Which team has a better chance of turning their season around, the Titans or the Bengals?
I still would say the Bengals, just because they have an elite quarterback. We just talked about the NFL being a league where you need an elite quarterback. They do have that. I think Joe Burrow is going to have an awesome future, and they have a lot of weapons. Again, my problem is I think that they can game plan. We're talking about game planning. I think that they can game plan a little bit better around the offensive line struggles. That's what I think. And you have a good back, Joe Mixon. You can figure out ways to get him the football. The Titans right now, what I've seen over the first 2 games, it seems like it's sort of holistically a problem.
Yeah, and I don't want to write the Titans off just yet, but the problems in Cincinnati seem a lot more fixable, as you're saying, with the weapons they have. And you just went through a year last year of having the same problem and were able to make it.
That's a good point, too.
So, at some point, experience is always king. We talk about it all the time. I will say, you brought up a point the other day that I went back and watched it, and you're exactly correct. Joe Burrow looks uncomfortable in the pocket for the first time, even going back to last year. I think last year he's still somewhat green in the NFL. You know, I'm out there kind of not improvising, but he realized what was going on. This year, I don't think he's been nonchalant coming into the year. I feel like he's already a proven commodity, but it just seems to me like he is not typical Joe Burrow in the pocket. When you watch Joe Burrow, even when there's pressure, it looks like the game is slow and he's not forcing things. It's a look to me early in the season like he's trying to force the action. I think you've really got to lean little bit more on that run game to keep those defensive linemen outside of pinning their ears back, because the Bengals keep getting in 2nd and 7 and 2nd and 8 and 3rd and 7 and 3rd and 8 and 3rd and 6 downs where you know they're going to run it, because they're not being effective really running the ball on early downs. And with Joe Mixon and Samaje Perine, you do have 2 good backs. But you just go back to if the offensive line's not great in pass pro, they're probably not great blocking against the run. You've got to find ways, whether it's you start just doing nothing but running zone, outside zone, inside zone, getting those defensive linemen moving laterally, the cutback's always there, or modified runs. They've got to get in 2nd and 5, because the predictability scale for the Bengals is a lot more dangerous because you're not good up front. Sometimes they know you're passing. If you're good up front on the offensive line, it's 3rd and 9, you know I'm passing, that's fine. That's fine. We can protect it. You want to bring pressure, we can protect. If you're the Bills on 3rd and 7 and 3rd and 8, if I'm Joe Burrow and I'm like, all right, I know we're passing, they know we're passing, and our offensive line isn't great, you're setting me up to maybe get demolished.
Well, the thing I saw with Joey B is his eyes are down in the pocket. He gets a couple seconds and his eyes are down in the pocket. And what a lot of people don't realize when it comes to playing D lineman, even if you don't get to the quarterback, if you've gotten to the quarterback enough, it'll still get
pressure in a hurry is
pressure in a quarterback's head is the real thing. It's almost like playing poker. Once you get into someone's head, you can kind of almost dictate what they do without forcing them to do it. And Joey B's eyes are down. He can feel the pressure getting to him. Because we're used to a Joey B stepping up in the pocket, making that whole shot deep, being his pocket presence. It's nice. It's certain elite to a certain standpoint. But right now, boom, couple seconds, eyes are down. It's getting to him. And I don't know what they got to do play calling-wise, get the ball out quick, run more screens, get outside the tackles. But Joey B just looks uncomfortable in the pocket. And I'm not used to seeing him because he's been under pressure, hell, his whole career. Even at LSU he was.
Well, I mean, he's been hurt the whole time he's been in the NFL. I wonder if the back of his mind, he's like, hey, I'm trying to make it through the season healthy to give us a chance at the end. And that's just, it's almost impossible to play that way in a game that's moving so fast. Like, it's hard to steal extra, nuance and seconds in something that's happening that fast. You just got to go out there and really play, and that's what I don't think we're seeing from Joe Burrow. But speaking about not playing, I was very surprised at the Vikings' performance in Philadelphia.
Me too.
Last night. Not that the Eagles won. I wasn't shocked that the Eagles won, but how inept the Vikings were on offense. Now, you got to tip your hat to the Eagles. Thought they played really well defensively, but Justin Jefferson taken totally out of the game. It's like they said somebody on social media was like, "Hey, Justin Jefferson coming back to the city as the gritty boy, and now you're leaving as the city. You're no longer a city boy." I mean, they locked him up. Mm-hmm. They locked him up. And I say Thielen,
nice.
I say Thielen, was the leading receiver. It's not like he had a great night. It's not like he blew the doors off. You scored one touchdown. And when I look at the Eagles, and we talked about Jalen Hurts, right? It seems like Jalen Hurts has gotten incrementally better every time I see him over a long period of time. And he's gone to adversity. We know what happened at Bama. Then he transferred to Oklahoma. But Jalen Hurts has gotten to a point, and this is why before the season I said I think Jalen Hurts is going to end up being very similar to Dak Prescott, but a more effective runner. I know Jalen is younger than Dak, but watching not only the way that Jalen's delivering the ball, his release has gotten quicker, but his decision-making in the pocket continues to improve. It seems like the pass game is slowing down for him. He's always been unbelievably good reactionary running the ball, running through the pocket, not just escaping in the outside. How many times at Alabama did we see him on 3rd and 7 and 3rd and 8 make the right decision to tuck the ball and go get 8 yards to find a way, whether that's breaking a tackle, getting the first down, and getting out of bounds? I think the word I'm looking for, David, and you're a great grader of quarterback play, is efficiency. Mm-hmm. Jalen is being unbelievably efficient on every play. He's not putting the ball in harm's way. That's not saying you won't turn the ball over with a physical mistake. Maybe a fumble, tip pass off a receiver's hands. Receiver drops one into another, into a DB's hands, which is why we need wide receiver interceptions. That should be an actual stat.
Yes,
that's caught. But Jalen Hurts' cone continues. As a wide receiver, how could you ever argue that, Blaine?
I was joking,
what are you seeing out of Jalen?
Because then he'd be charged with a couple interceptions, maybe.
That's true.
Whereas now it's just all on the quarterback.
That is true.
What I say out of Jalen Hurts, to me right now after watching that game, just first of all, breakout performance. He's doing all of the best things, all of the things he did well at Alabama and at Oklahoma, but he's not doing the things he did badly. Yeah, that's the best part. Like, I mean, he's always had great mobility. He's always been a good team leader. The question was, and he's always had a big arm, right? A lot of these guys have big arms. The question was, can he put the ball where it needs to be in big moments that matter? If you're down late in a game on the road, something like that. To me, he's doing all of the things he's always done well, being a team leader, using his feet. I mean, a couple of the runs he had were just incredible last night, but he's also throwing the ball downfield with accuracy. I think he's won over the locker room. The Eagles playing well was not surprising at all. I have them winning the NFC East. Mm-hmm. The Vikings playing that poorly, especially on the offensive side of the ball, was surprising to me. We can laugh about Kirk Cousins being an average NFL quarterback, but he's still... we deserved a better performance, I think, in prime time than what he delivered last night. And my question moving forward for the rest of the season is, after you get beat like that in prime time, even though it was on the road, how do you bounce back offensively? Are you going to figure out ways you can get Justin Jefferson the ball? Is Kirk Cousins going to be more efficient through the air? Or is this a situation where when they're hidden in a 12 o'clock in a noon game or a 1 o'clock game, he throws for 350 and a bunch of touchdowns? Mm-hmm. And just like we've always said about Kirk Cousins, when the bright lights are on, sort of like, bottom tier NFL quarterback.
Well, I think the Vikings will bounce back fine. I think the Eagles are just really good. I mean, you look, first of all, maybe the best offensive line in the NFL. I mean, you got Kelsey at center, one of the best centers. You got Landon Dickerson at guard. You have a right tackle who's phenomenal. Your defensive line with Cox, Jordan Davis. They looked extreme. I mean, Slade Jr. just locked Justin Jefferson up. It didn't really bracket Justin Jefferson up.
That was the craziest part.
No, didn't really bracket him that much. He said straight up, all right, let's go, Kirk.
And let's tell people what we mean by bracket. It's a double team.
Yeah, it's a double team. So you got a corner and a safety.
Yeah, there's different ways to do it, but
I think the Vikings will be okay. But you go back, Jalen Hurts, my knock on Jalen Hurts was I really wanted to see him sit in the pocket, go through progressions, and make the right read. And he did that from start to finish in that game. But you go back to the time he had in the pocket. I mean, what beats good coverage? I mean, good protection, right? Yeah. That's what's going to beat good coverage. And you saw that.
Can't cover everybody forever.
You just can't. And they're, the Vikings always come out in certain shell defenses. That's just who they are. And Jalen just gave whatever they gave you, he took. Yeah. That's right. And he finally let it hit. And he has the extra gear in the run game, which they have to account on a runner. It makes it so hard for a defensive guy to scheme, especially if you can't get to him.
Yeah.
And Jalen was sitting.
And he can run.
And he can
run. Over-rush.
The Eagles are dangerous. They can run the ball, stop the run, and Jalen Hurts just seems to be growing in front of our eyes.
Well, I always say this. Another misconception. I know I feel like we're speaking about misconceptions, but sometimes it's like you think, oh, he's going to take the defense, what the defense is giving him. Oh, well, you're letting the defense set the tone. No, that's not true. That's not weakness or beta by taking what the defense is giving you. No. That's the whole point. It's like playing chess. I'm going to take advantage of what you're giving me. I can't, as an offensive guy, I can't control how many safeties you put back. I can't control if you want to play a shell and go too high and say, I'm going to keep everything in front. Well, guess what? You're opening stuff up for me in the underneath in the middle. There's always something there. And when you have a guy like Jalen Hurts, another thing that scares you is you're playing with an extra guy when you can run like Jalen Hurts can. Nothing scared me more as a defensive guy and a defensive coordinator. The guys that can run Q power, that can run power read. Power read still keeps me up at night, which is where you motion the guy, you run your power set, the quarterback can keep it out of the backside. You have to be so disciplined because you have an extra hat in the box. So when even if you're in 10 personnel, all right, well, let's just say we're giving you a 6-man box. We have 5 offensive linemen, a quarterback, and a running back. Well, you don't have to be Matt Damon from Good Will Hunting to realize that's 7 on 6. So when the quarterback can run, you have an extra hat. But if you want to play too high and keep everything underneath, which is what we've seen a lot, especially against who? The Chiefs. A lot. When Tyreek Hill was there, we've seen it a little bit this year. What did they do? They put 2 safeties back. They said, you are not beating us deep. You can beat us underneath. And defensive coordinators know that the most greedy people on the planet are quarterbacks and offensive coordinators. How long until you test the waters vertical? How long can I go? It's like drafting a quarterback in fantasy. How long can I wait before I pull the trigger? Can I wait till the 6th round, David? Can I wait till the 8th round to pull the trigger? Or am I going to say, you know what? Let's just go for it regardless. I'm afraid I'm not going to get it. So I want to make sure that when we say the offense is taking what the defense is giving them, that is not a soft term offensively. That's called being smart. To quote McLovin on Superbad, it's called strategy. Real quick, speaking of strategy, we're going to get Big Game Boomer in here in a second, Blaine, but Booster Club, what's going on there?
Okay, let's go to Malcolm Martin. What's up, Malcolm? He says, who will have a better career, Jalen or Tua?
That's the ultimate question. Or Mac Jones. Throw Mac Jones in there, too.
Yeah. And I would say right now, I would, with the way the Dolphins are trending, that's tough. I would say Tua by a hair.
I'd go Jalen. The kid's indestructible.
That's a fantastic
that's the only
point.
Word.
Like everything about me wants to say Tua, but it just like we haven't even seen him stay healthy for a full season yet, right? Like we have to see him. I want to see him do what he did this past Sunday, but over the course of a full season and be the NFL quarterback that we all thought he could be. But it seems like Jalen Hurts is just indestructible, man.
It is.
Well, another thing you go look at, Dalvin Cook had like 2 rushes for 16 yards. Or 6 rushes for 16 yards.
Yeah, you shut him down.
You're not going to win.
No.
I'm sorry, you're not going to win.
Well, it's just funny. His name's Jalen Hurts, and the guy never gets hurt.
Yeah, that is true. Hey, Brad David.
That'd be like my name. My name was Rodney Muffins, and I hated baked goods.
Yeah, Rodney Muffins. What a name. All right, Brad David, a $4.99 donation.
All right, we're out of here. We got it.
All right, do you guys think Urban Meyer will coach again? If so, when and where would be a good fit?
Yes.
Okay, before we bring
can't keep him off the field.
Urban.
There's one place, Urban, that I need you to go. It's located in the state of Alabama.
Really?
And it's going to be an opening soon.
Really?
Nick Saban's not retiring soon.
Part of me thinks he would listen. I'm not going into that yet. I'm going to wait till the trigger gets pulled, and if they lose to Missouri, it may not make it back to the locker room this weekend. Just remember I said that. But speaking about a guy who would make it back to the locker room, at least I think, our buddy Big Game Boomer joins us every Tuesday, the list extraordinaire. He's basically in the front of everybody's fridge. Boomer, what's up, dog?
What's happening, y'all? How y'all doing?
Doing good, man. Wanted to hop in here. We thought, we always come up with these lists each week, and we're like, what would be a good list? What would be something that's different? Because we don't want to come out and be like, all right, here's our power rankings every certain day. We do it on Wednesday, but with you, we wanted to mix it up. So we decided, we collectively brought our heads together. We wore white lab coats, black gloves, did the science. Top 5 home field advantages in college football. And I do want to say this. This isn't just this year, okay? You can't be like, oh, well, this one team, well, they lost last week at home. It must be a terrible advantage at home. We're saying over the course of time. Let's just say last 20 years, somewhere around there. So, Boomer, we have your list, okay? Wow, that is somewhat close.
Oh,
that is somewhat close. He's got, Boomer has LSU 1, totally agree. Yep. Penn State 2, totally agree. A&M 3. Kyle Field, obviously loud. Tennessee 4 and Iowa 5. May not score a lot of points, but they score a lot of points on the decimal meter. Kind of go through your decision-making and thought process there, BGB.
Yeah, well, LSU, I mean, those fans basically show up like on Tuesday in the Baton Rouge and you're tailgating all week. And, I mean, they get rowdy down there in Baton Rouge. And once the game starts, they prefer night games. And you saw like last week, I mean, that atmosphere was rocking against Mississippi State. Tough place to play. Penn State, you just think of the whiteout. They do just one of those games a year. I think they should do a couple. It seems like the atmosphere there is just insane when they have the whiteout atmosphere. I think Minnesota is their whiteout game this year. Texas A&M, we can rag on them as much as we want to. They're such an easy team to make fun of, with all the traditions and everything. But Kyle Field, I got to give them some respect. That place can get loud. I mean, the student section's like almost 60,000 people. So it's a tough place to play. Neyland is tough. I specifically remember when OU went to Neyland, I think 2015, Baker Mayfield's kind of first season, and that place was absolutely insane, and the fans are absolutely rabid. And then with Iowa, they've got, first you got to go into the pink locker rooms, and it's an underrated place to play. It's loud. The defense will keep you into a lot of third down situations, and it's a tough place to play. A lot of teams, Ohio State, Michigan, come out of Kinnick with a loss because it's not easy.
Yeah, you look at kind of Iowa and Wisconsin too. Wisconsin's another place that's crazy to play. I love how Boomer's like, the Iowa defense, they'll get you in third down and long. The offense is, well, they played football too. And,
even Iowa struggles playing in Iowa.
That's exactly right.
For sure.
Hey, but Boomer, I was looking we had a buddy of ours sent us a stat. So the Colts, the Indianapolis Colts, are averaging 2.5 points a quarter right now, which is really bad. You want to know how bad it is? Iowa's averaging 3.42. When your offense is worse than Iowa's, I'm not counting overtime.
They scored 27.
I'm not. They scored 27. Read Globetrotter situation?
Nevada.
I'll tell you about Nevada.
Yeah, that's exactly
not
right.
a good situation.
No, Nevada couldn't stop a nosebleed in a nurse's office. But Boomer, I do like that list. Let's go ahead and throw our list up here, Cone. You want to go through our list? You go through it.
Yeah, let's do it. What are we starting with 5 here? Tennessee, Neyland. Hey, this is our home state now.
Yeah.
So where did you have them, Big Game Boomer?
I don't know.
I had them at 4.
At 4.
At 4. Okay, very similar. Let's move to 4. Bring it up. Auburn, the Plains. Guys, go ahead and talk about Auburn.
All right, look, first off, I coached at Tennessee and Neyland Stadium when I was in South Alabama. Unbelievably loud, so loud that holes in the helmets were whistling. I mean, the ground was shaking. It's unbelievably loud. Auburn, crazy place to play. Even the Magic couldn't save how bad they were, though. Again, there's some magic that, like they say, can make people fall in love with you. There's others that can bring you back to life from the dead. Auburn didn't have that bring back to life from the dead magic. We have the, hey, everybody loves this magic. So Auburn at 4, it's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. The SEC is hard not to put an SEC team in this top 5. Like all across the top
I haven't
5.
been to as many stadiums as I've wanted to go to in my life, but it gets to the point when I was in Auburn Stadium, I'll never forget this. They were playing LSU when I believe Auburn went undefeated, and they caught that pick at the end of the game. It was a moment where it was so loud in the stadium, it was silent.
Yeah, it was one audible noise.
It's one audible, like it's so loud you can't hear anything at all. Like that's one of the coolest moments of my life. So I can imagine you coach at Tennessee. I heard that place is crazy loud. LSU, I've been to a game. That place it's a different type of loud. I'm talking about these people have been drunk for 4 days straight.
Yeah, well, anybody that can get up at 6 in the morning and be hammered by 6:30 and still
that takes effort, commitment.
I'm not talking about being nice. I'm not talking about being cordial and do that. I'm talking about not falling down and things getting set on fire. Like that's how crazy it is. I've already told the story about the duck sausage. We're not going to get into that as well, but let's go ahead and bring up number 3. Florida. The swamp, crazy, nuts, loud, hot, humid. Ask Utah. They were puking in the first quarter.
It's humid for sure.
Hey, Boomer, you remember when we were on that space on Twitter and that guy came in there and was like, well, Utah's been practicing in altitude and wearing sweatshirts and stuff. I was like, look, buddy, altitude and humidity are 2 totally different things. He's like, Utah's going to be fine. They show one play with like 3 minutes to go in the first quarter, and the DB from Utah is just puking red Gatorade. He looked like Linda Blair.
Altitude and humidity both suck.
No, they both suck, but they're totally different. You can go run a 4K in altitude, go sign a scholarship to run track at Oregon, whatever. You go play in the swamp or down in LSU, that humidity is different. You're going to tighten, you're going to cramp, you're going to puke. And that's what we saw of Utah. And it was still a good game.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I don't know which one you'd rather pick, though, because I played in humidity. I guess I'm more used to that. But the altitude, when I got to Western Colorado.
Much rather play in altitude.
I don't know.
Much rather.
It got to the point where, I didn't have one. Your legs will just quit working.
Yeah, where's the humidity?
Your legs will you'll be running, you'll be having trouble breathing. Next thing you know, your legs will you go baby horse, and your legs will just quit working. It's the weirdest feeling ever. Horse. Yeah, your legs just quit working. Humidity, I kind of like hot games anyway.
Well, you're from the South.
No, am I?
Yes.
Yeah.
Are you sure?
I was there when you were born.
I don't know.
Just because you're a Yankees fan doesn't
mean.
mean
Am I from this planet? Let's be honest.
Yes, you are.
Maybe I was with Aaron Judge when we got dropped in the corner.
I've known you longer than you've known you.
That is somewhat true, I guess.
Yeah, it is. All right, speaking about knowing, let's put up number 2 here. Penn State.
There we go. Penn State. Look, I played in it, man. Look, and I was happy to see that on your list too, BGB. But other than the Rose Bowl, I think that's the coolest experience that I've ever had. The whiteout in Happy Valley on the road. Did it twice, actually. Phenomenal experience. And you were talking. You had Iowa on your list, right? At 5.
Yep.
Man, I would say I'd put places like the Horseshoe above Iowa.
I was wondering
the pink locker rooms for a second. Let me just tell you about the pink locker rooms. They're amazing. Okay, they're awesome. Spacious, plenty of room. The only stadium in the Big Ten I ever went where I had my own locker was Iowa. I don't care if they're pink. I was able to spread my wings a little bit,
Part.
Meanwhile, we're going and playing at Northwestern. It's 3 to a locker. I got Mario Manningham like sandwich right here. Chad Henne right here. I felt like a Michigan sandwich or something. Give me the pink locker room.
Northwestern's like, we found out. We did the math. If we make it 800 square feet, they're going to play worse. Like we somehow put that together. When we were at Tennessee, their locker room was so small, we were underneath the stands, and it was so loud, and they were kicking on the stands that dust was coming down while Coach Jones was talking to the whole team. It was like something straight out of a movie. Yeah. I was looking around. It was just real, like full eye. What did they say? Full eyes,
clear eyes,
full hearts, can't lose. It's really one of those moments. Yeah. But number 1, the hardest place to play. We agree with you. It's LSU.
Easy.
All right, it's LSU. You're the only team in the state. There's no Auburn to an Alabama. There's no Mississippi State to an Ole Miss. Hell, there's not even a Vandy to a Tennessee. It's you guys and the Saints.
And the Saints, yeah.
And the Saints. It's you guys and the Saints. So everybody in the whole state shows up. Everybody's hammered. Anywhere you can get a drive-through daiquiri and go watch a legit Power 5 football game, people are going to be hammered. And the food's great, and it smells great at most places. There are some places there around the stadium that don't smell great there, BGB.
They are tailgating right now as we speak.
For sure.
They are tailgating. Yeah.
That's exactly right. It's absolutely nuts. And seeing them, play well in the second half. I know Mississippi State dropped a lot of passes and a punt, but having a good LSU is good not only for the SEC, but for college football. Boomer, while we still have you here, what were your thoughts on week 3, kind of where we're at? Georgia, absolutely pants South Carolina, but Oregon bounced back and beat BYU. Yeah. But my question for you, you've been really high on NC State. They did struggle a bit against the Pirates from East Carolina, but they are undefeated. Where are you at in the Wolfpack right now?
I still feel pretty good about them. I mean, the defense held Texas Tech. Really kept that offense, held them down. And to me, it's the offense that is really kind of concerning. Devin Leary is just not who he was last year. I've talked to some of the insiders at NC State, and they think the play calling is a little inconsistent. So, but that defense is phenomenal. So as long as that defense is there, they're going to be in every game. I can't wait they play Clemson in 2 weeks. So we'll know for sure if they're for real or not. I'm wrong a lot. I admit it. And last week I was wrong about Michigan State. I thought that the secondary.
I wasn't going to bring that up.
Okay,
I wasn't going to bring that up.
I was getting dragged on social media, so I might as well just go ahead and bring it up. But I thought the secondary would be better, and it's maybe worse. They got absolutely gashed by Washington. But I will say props to them for playing a tough non-conference schedule, whereas another team in that state has played basically an FCS preseason schedule. So we don't know much about Michigan yet, but we do know Michigan State. They don't have a secondary.
Congratulations on the backhanded compliment. Way to squeeze in. Way to open the statement with I'm wrong.
For sure.
I'm wrong, but also the team I hate is even worse. Well done. Yeah. Well done. I really like that. That's next level type stuff everyone needs to take notes on. I agree with you. Kudos to Michigan State for going on the road and playing a good Washington team.
In
terms of talking about being wrong, like I think all of us were wrong in terms of just how lopsided it could be, even though I think some of us were bigger on Washington, which was nice. And then as far as Michigan goes,
Penix Jr.
Look, I'll keep saying the same thing. They have not played a good schedule. It is disappointing to see the upper bowl of the Big House be empty. But we've played weak teams before, and we'd find a way to win those games 37-17, right? Yeah. There's a difference between 59-0, 37-17. What I'm most excited about is not the score in these games. I don't care about the score as much as we're playing efficient football, which is exciting. Again, you don't want to find out late in East Lansing that, you haven't been prepped for the season.
Turns out we're not good.
No, Michigan's a good football team.
Yeah,
so
you can watch them play. My thing with the Washington-Michigan State game, and I do think people need to realize it's going to take still more time for Mel Tucker to get everybody in there the way that he wants. You look at the way they're recruiting, their speed is getting better and better and better, and Mel Tucker knows how to build it. I think this is more about Washington than it is about Michigan State. I've been very high on Washington since they hired DeBoer from Fresno State, who I was really big on, who's very well respected in the coach community. And then Michael Penix Jr. comes over 2 years ago. It seems like everybody forgot 2 years ago what he did at Indiana, really how good he was, some of the plays he made when he was healthy. He looks good. Polk looks good. McMillan looks good. Up front, they look good. I love how physical they are on defense. I think they set the tone. As good as Penix Jr. is, as good as the running game is, as dynamic as they are on the outside, Washington is a physical football team. And can you imagine? And the funny part is when Jake Haener said he was going to Washington, and then ended up going back to Fresno State, everybody's like, oh, well, that was Washington's chance. They could have been legit. Penix Jr., I know at Indiana last year it wasn't beautiful, but there were a lot of problems around Indiana and what they lost off that team, and then he gets hurt, that I think he kind of got lost in the shuffle. That's why I get so pissed off when we talk about Auburn and putting some of the blame and most of the blame on Brian Harsin. There were so many good quarterbacks in the portal. You went out and got a lemon. You could have gotten fiber cable, but you went and got AOL dial-up, man. Like, that's the problem. Penix Jr., Slovis, I can go through the list. Jackson Dart, Max Johnson. How good of a fit would Max Johnson have been at Auburn? JT Daniels. And you go get Zach. I played one good game in my whole life, Calzada. But that's a story for another day. I think this is more about Washington than anything. And I will say this, Boomer, when you make as many predictions as we do and stuff like that, you're not always going to be right. If everybody was right, there'd be no fun left.
I picked Oregon to beat Georgia.
Made that up.
Part of it.
Well,
Actually, just made that up. Let's write that down.
What was it again, Sadie?
If everybody was always right, there'd be no fun left.
There'd be no fun left. There would be no fun left. I want to go back to the Big Ten East quickly, BGB. I want to talk about Penn State because week 1, this Penn State team goes on the road to West Lafayette, beats a good Purdue team. Now, I think Purdue should have won that game if they could run the ball at all in the final 6 minutes. Penn State goes on the road, wins that game, come down to the Plains this past weekend. They beat Auburn. In a division where we're talking about Ohio and Michigan State so much, what do you think the ceiling is for Penn State, not only in that tough division, but also in the conference?
Good question.
I think that, based on what we've seen, they've beaten Purdue and Auburn on the road already this season. From what I see, they should be able to compete with Ohio State and Michigan for sure. The most impressive thing to me on Saturday was that Penn State was able to run the football against what I thought was a pretty good Auburn front seven. So, I feel they got to play. I think Ohio State comes to Happy Valley. They play Michigan on the road. But I like what I see at Sean Clifford. We can make fun of how long he's been there, but he's a veteran. That secondary is I cannot wait to watch that secondary go up against Ohio State's, all those wide receivers. That's going to be an insane matchup. But so far, I like what I see out of Penn State. But, they beat Auburn last year, and I thought, hey, well, James Franklin's got that thing rolling, and they end up going like 7-6. So we'll see. But so far, so good.
Yeah, Auburn's receivers can get separation if they got a judge involved.
Auburn's team.
Yeah, it wasn't even close. I've never seen an Auburn team dominated like that. But BGB, tell everybody where they can find your stuff. Always appreciate you joining us on Tuesday. Good list. Any predictions this weekend? Anything going kind of awry, you think?
I think Tennessee's going to roll Florida. I got a feeling. Yeah. I can sense it. They've won once since 2005. They've only beaten Florida. So I'm feeling blowout in Knoxville for the Vols.
I don't think that's crazy at all. I don't think it's crazy.
You can find me on Twitter, Instagram, Big Game Boomer, on YouTube, Big Game Boomer Show, cranking out lists all the time. Sometimes I'm right, sometimes I'm wrong, and that's the beauty of it. So appreciate you guys having me on.
Definitely. Anytime, BGB. All right. I do, before we get to the break, I want to go through this quick hits really quick. Blaine, anything from the Booster Club?
Anything from the is always something.
That's true. I said that was terribly worded.
I know. Disgusting. I believe it was Travis Elrod, which says, which is worse to play in, extreme heat or extreme cold?
Extreme cold.
God, the worst.
Mm-hmm. Extreme cold.
Oh, I hate it.
I don't even want to talk about it.
I'd rather there be lava flowing on the field.
My hands.
Coaching in Montana,
I don't know. I don't know what hurts worse. Let's be realistically. Getting your hands caught between two helmets when it's really cold playing football, getting squeezed, or getting your ankle hit by a Razor scooter.
What hurts worse?
Both of those. Let's be honest.
The first one.
I was trying to think in my mind after you said the first one, anything that hurts worse than the first one, and I can't think of anything.
God, you ever caught a Razor scooter
that not only
off the
hurts
shin?
worse, but pisses you off more.
Oh.
It's a race between getting your fingers stuck in between two helmets that get smashed in cold weather, and when you're having a bad day and you walk inside and open the door and whatever you're holding gets caught on the door handle, which always seems to happen.
You're stubbing your toe.
When you're pissed. Always only happens when I'm mad. I never walk in the door. I'm like, oh, that got caught on the door handle. It's been a great day. It's it's sunny outside.
Playing in the cold. You would think that.
That's why I could have committed to Michigan, Cone.
You know what's funny? You would think that by playing football at Michigan, all of the top 5 or top 10 coldest football game experiences I have would be in Ann Arbor. The second coldest game I ever played in was a state championship in Georgia.
Isn't it
at
weird?
At Marist. Guess who the quarterback was of that team?
Is he a head coach?
Sean McVay.
Sean McVay.
Yeah.
Sean McVay out there just running the triple option. Hey, I'm all-state player.
I don't think he's out here complaining about the cold, David.
That's why they won.
Yeah, exactly.
There was one play, it was so cold, I couldn't button my chin strap. Went to the line, I couldn't button it. We're going without it.
It's funny. You know, they're like, all right, hey, there's a lightning delay. We're going to be delayed for 45 minutes on a lightning delay, but it'll be negative 20 degrees. I'm like, hey, man, y'all get out of here and play some football, man. I would much rather, as a player, play in lightning. You know what? Zeus, if you're ready for me, dog, hit me with it. Hit me with the fastball, brother. But then to play in
I'd rather play in a
cold.
tornado right next to us than how cold it was in Colorado.
Oh, where you were in
I had to sleep
Gunnison?
with an electric blanket.
In Gunnison, if you drove 2 miles past Blaine's campus, you saw the Grinch.
Yeah, the Grinch lived there. I'm fighting off woolly mammoths trying to get to practice.
Really?
I'm throwing spears at them trying to get to practice.
There's scientists
you want to talk
saying-
about never catching the ball with your hands.
There's scientists
Never.
discovering new things.
You're better
around
for
it.
that. You're better for that
Am I?
experience now.
Am I? I don't know.
Sounds like that experience kind of sucked.
Yeah, it did.
All right, Cohen, let's go a little quick hit
Let's
here.
go super fast here. Can Cooper Rush save the Cowboys season? Yes or no?
Yes. Yes. I think he can. What I mean by that, just keep it steady until Dak gets back and blows it again.
That's
okay.
easier said
That's the
than
thing.
done.
Here's the bigger question is, will the Cowboys have more success while Cooper Rush is? What happens?
Yes.
What happens if
know where
Cooper
you're
Rush
going.
is undefeated, like 5-0 as a starter? What happens? Could we have a Tom Brady, Drew Bledsoe
Or
situation?
a former Cowboys situation. Remember when Dak came in when Tony Romo got hurt?
That's true.
It's
Could
happened.
Dak get
There's
Dak?
precedent. Could Dak get Dak? There's the tweet right there.
There it is right there.
All right. Would you rather have the Chiefs, Dolphins, or Bills offense?
What do you think, Blaine?
Great. Give me the Bills.
Yeah.
I want Josh Allen.
Yeah,
I want Josh Allen.
I've thought about this. I'll take a mixture of all three.
Yeah. Can I combine the Transformer
No,
style?
I would rather. I got to go Chiefs. I got to go Chiefs. The offensive line is better. You're able to run the ball. I love Clyde Edwards. Hilarious, just like a box that can move. They're just tough to tackle. He runs funny. I mean, Juju Smith-Schuster's got to kind of keep going and getting better. But McCole Hardman, I know you'll never replace Tyreek Hill, but I think they're running the same stuff. They put McCole Hardman where Tyreek Hill was, especially in the red zone. It's like, just do what he did, kind of like that. But Travis Kelce, but the biggest part is the offensive line, then the Chiefs' defense.
Yeah.
Again, I know we're talking about offense, but Chris Jones is one of my favorite players from Mississippi State. But give me the Chiefs' offense. Mahomes is out there just telling kids if they're in Gryffindor or Hufflepuff.
Last Friday.
Big Jackson Mahomes guy.
You are.
No.
You are?
False.
What about Patrick Mahomes?
False. Okay.
No, that's what Jackson.
If you asked me last Friday after Thursday Night Football, I'll take the Chiefs. Yesterday's answer after Sunday, I would have taken the Dolphins.
mix all
but
three.
now recency bias, I'm going to take the Bills.
There you go.
Which New York team will have a better season, the Giants or the New York Jets?
All right, producer Justine, I'm going with the Giants. Okay? Y'all are a little bit better defensively than what I thought. Saquon is more of a weapon. Look, Zach Wilson's going to come back, the Cougar Hunter, even though Joey Flax and them with a
Ride
big
with
win
the
on the
fear.
road. Brownie the Elf let everybody in
Cougar
Cleveland
going.
down. Like, you want to talk about burning merch. Like, you ought to burn the Brownie the Elf thing. Like I said yesterday, put it in the time cap.
I think it looked dumb, too, to be honest.
Yeah, it did look stupid. Looks like his Santa Claus Football League.
Yeah.
But I think the Giants are just a better overall team. I think they have more depth. Look, I love Elijah Moore, the Ole Miss wide receiver. I like Garrett Wilson, some of the pieces
Nice.
that
Dropped
the
a
Jets have.
30 piece in
But
fantasy.
the Giants, I mean, Saquon really gets cooking, and Daniel just doesn't blow it. They have some guys. Give me the Giants overall as a team, a more wholesome.
Give me the Jets, baby.
The Jets.
Why?
Jets,
Why?
Jets. One, let's talk about this year, Joey Flax. Let's go, Joey Flax. You're looking
He's
good.
going to be the quarterback for like 2 more weeks.
Well, we'll see.
You were hating on Joe
You
Flacco.
are all-
We'll see.
you were
We'll
just
see. We'll see. We don't know what
hinge
Zach is
jumper.
right now. We don't know where Zach is mentally right now. Who's he hanging out with?
Somebody's
Where
mom.
is he? Yeah, someone's mom. Good for him. But Joey Flax out here slinging around. I like Breece Hall running back. The kid's
Breece is
looking
nice.
nice. Garrett Wilson, hashtag starting to figure it out.
Yeah, he is.
The defense didn't play great against the Browns. Couldn't stop the run. Nick Chubb was just running. But I still think I need to see more out of Daniel Jones. Are we convinced?
No,
we
we're
convinced?
not. Nobody's
We know what we got with
convinced.
Joey Flax. All right, we know what we got with him.
I'm
All right?
having to pick
But
between the
still,
Jets and the
Daniel,
Giants.
I feel like Daboll's been doing a great job calling plays, getting him outside the pocket, making things kind of easier for him. But we'll see down the stretch. I still like Joey Flax. Little Breece Hall looks nice, but it gets to the point where how good is the Giants defense?
Well, I think maybe, and I know we gotta roll on, but do you think since they're able to talk in the NFL, the coaches can talk to the quarterbacks before the snap? Do you think after every time Daboll, whoever's talking to Daniel Jones, like at the end, it's like, all right, here's what I want. Let's go Z short, 28 razor left, 35 Boston dive. Hey, don't do anything stupid. Like,
Yeah,
he says it every
He ends
time.
everything with don't throw a pick.
Yeah,
Wait,
he
wait,
just
wait.
ends one,
All
don't
head-
throw an interception.
All head coaches don't say that to their players?
I would
heard
say it
that- I heard
every
that a
time.
lot.
I would say it every time.
Yeah.
I would to the quarterback.
Don't
Every
be
time.
dumb.
But hey, throw it away if you got to your arm.
I would be like the parent whose teenager just started driving and's going out. Like, hey, make good decisions. Like, as they're leaving the house. That's what I'm telling every day. Make good decisions. Make good decisions.
All right. Who replaces Herm Edwards at Arizona State?
You know who I think it's going to be?
I have a name.
Go ahead.
No, you go first.
It's that we may have the same name. Does it rhyme with Smine Smarson?
No. Oh, that's a good one, too, though. That is a good one. I was thinking Scott Frost. Go get Scott Frost. Go get Scott Frost. Look, if you're Scott Frost, you're saying, hey, it didn't work out at the alma mater, but I still have something to prove. Arizona State kind of down in the dumps. Maybe we go get the culture fixed, and then we stay there a season or two. A season or two.
Scott Frost shows up. He's like, yeah, I played quarterback at Arizona State. It's a pretty good player. I think it's going to be Brian Harsin. It's going to be Brian Harsin.
That would make sense. Where
I think Auburn and Brian Harsin are going to part ways during the season. Arizona State still has the NCAA investigation going on. It's more toward kind of, obviously, the West Coast, if you look at a map, even though geography doesn't matter anymore. And I think that'll be kind of an amicable get-together. I don't see a Jamie Chadwell taking that job while it's under investigation. Maybe a young guy will give it a flyer if they give it a chance, something like that. So I'm going to say Brian Harsin is the next coach of Arizona State.
Yeah.
Well, Tom Herman.
That's another name. Tom.
Tommy.
What about do well there?
Would Dan Mullen wouldn't take that job?
Dan Mullen won't go to Arizona State.
No. Auburn would mess around and hire Dan Mullen. Watch.
I'd love it.
You would love it?
I'd love it.
If Auburn hired Dan Mullen?
Yes.
You're sick.
I'd love it.
You're sick.
We're already used to not recruiting anyways. At least he can call plays. At least he can call plays. At least he can do that.
And we've already established that play calling is more important than recruiting.
Exactly.
So.
What is happening?
Exactly.
I'm not even upset about your comment. Did you say you really wanted Dan Mullen?
I wouldn't mind it. I'm not going out there screaming Dan Mullins, but I wouldn't mind it.
You just went out there and
I want
Dan
Prime.
Mullen.
That's what I want.
Bro,
I want guys on Aflac commercials with Saban in them. That's what I want. Recruit. It's about
There's
recruiting.
a better chance of getting a goat that says Gap than getting Prime.
He's on Prime was the
commercial.
goat. That's what the commercial was about.
You know what?
No, because it's the goat gap. The gap in the.
It's a goat gap. Say that 3 times fast, but backwards.
Gap goat, gap goat, gap goat.
No. The other way.
Pag tog.
You got it. All right, last one. Word on the street is Texas spent $280,000 on Arch Manning's recruiting visit with him and 8 other players. You guys were coaches. $280K? How you feeling about that?
How bad do you want to win?
It's not enough.
And
Not
guess
enough.
what? And guess what?
Not enough.
He committed.
Bama spent $300,000.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm just. What are you guys getting? It's like we actually have a lobster. We're gonna have 2 lobsters fight each other, and whoever wins, you get to eat. That's where, like, this is how it's gonna be. These places that have tons of money. Maybe they should spend that $280,000 on armor for the quarterbacks when they play Alabama. They don't get hurt.
Too soon. Even on Colt McCoy's hit. 10 years too soon. We have a decade. Yeah.
Look, it's the numbers are going to continue to be astronomical. Look, Arch Manning, good player. Going to be a really good player. Is he the savior? I just don't think so, man. I like Holstein. I like Eli Holstein, but I think there's 4 or 5 guys that are better in the class than Arch Manning.
He's already a bust.
What?
He's already a bust.
There's no way he lives up to it. There's no way he
How's
lives
he
up
already
to
a bust?
There's no way he lives up to it.
Well, that's
like LeBron's kid.
That's different.
It's like LeBron's
What would
kid.
he have to do to not be a bust? How many natties do you have to win? 1 for Texas?
I think he wins one natty and 1 Heisman. He's not a bust.
1 Heisman?
Yeah. It's
You
like
need
that.
a natty and a Heisman.
It's
and not
like
be a
that.
bust. Man.
It's like that. You got Manning on the end of it.
Neither of
you
his
got Manning
uncles
on,
or his grandfather won a Heisman.
Yeah, but still. Did they get $280,000 to go to their school?
I don't know. I mean, I got a
Maybe.
I got a
Eli
nice-
did for sure.
I got a nice steak on my official visit. So I want to see the bill, to be honest.
Yeah.
I want to see the tab. What'd you guys get on the official visit?
A pamphlet.
That's, yeah. What else?
That's it.
See, dude, the seafood
They had dinner.
We had that.
I was about to say, there's no way this guy went on an official to South Alabama and didn't get the best seafood.
Oh, it was unbelievable.
Like,
You know
I
what
can't
I'm saying?
imagine.
Oh, it was great. They just brought everything.
Bluegill?
We went
not
to
talking
Felix's, which
See?
was
fire.
See?
nice.
Yeah, Captain.
We went to Tacky Jack's while it was still down there. It was really good. I had a Monte Cristo.
Did you?
Dog, I felt like the Count.
Grilled cheese French toast? Please.
Hey, guys.
What do we
can
say?
not talk about delicious
Clear eyes,
food
full
this early in
hearts?
the morning?
Can't lose.
That's exactly right. Speaking about can't lose, if you want to watch the rest of the show, remember you can listen if you stay here. Head over to the Daily Wire Plus, become a member, join the squad. Listen on Apple, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. Subscribe, leave a 5-star review, and share it with all your friends and your enemies, because this may be the thing that finally makes you friends again. We'll be right back. All right, everybody, thank you guys for joining us. And look, you know on this show, we don't like getting political and things like that. That's really not our bag. But there are some times where it intersects, where we feel like we need to opine on it. All right, Massachusetts, University of Massachusetts football team is having a Pride Day, which is a celebration of the LGBTQ community at one of their home games on the college campus. Okay, so it's Pride Day. Here's my thing. I struggle understanding how you can say, David, I want you to treat me the same as everybody else. I don't want it to even be thought of. But I also want to have a day dedicated to my sexual orientation. To me, true acceptance is when I go to a game and I look at another person, I don't think, oh, that person is of this sexual orientation or that orientation. That's just a person. I don't need to go to a game and know that you're gay. I don't need to know that. Why is that any of my business? That's not true acceptance. That is, look at me. This is how I'm different from you. Accept me.
Yeah.
You're already accepted. Who is getting turned away from a football? When you buy your ticket on StubHub, or you go to a game and you go pick up your tickets from Real Call or whatever, they don't ask you, excuse me, sir, can you tell me your sexual orientation before I give you this ticket? No, because nobody cares. Like, to me, by doing stuff like this, and is there a huge problem? Am I gonna not go to the game because it's Pride Day? No, but to me, true acceptance is we're going to the game. You love who you love. I'll love whom I love. Let's go root on our team. You root on your team. I'll root on mine. The problem that people have with situations like this is I don't care who you love. I don't care. The only problem I have is when you start to force it on me. When you have to tell me how I should think or how I should feel. You're not going to game. I see you on social media, they're like, oh, well, there's homophobic slurs going on all the times at games. Show me. I've been to more games than anybody. People say crazy stuff all the time. People say wild things about the other team. To get made fun of for either the way you look, the way you think, the way you act, who you love, it's all in one ball. If we were doing this, we'd have a day for every single thing. Don't slander light poles day. Don't make fun of where you get your oil change day. Like, why is this such a big deal that we continue to have to have a day saying this is who you sleep with at a football game? Well, I don't understand how if I was that way. If I was that way, you know what I want? Treat me the same. I don't need a day.
Yeah. And I think the sad part is there are members of the LGBT community who really mean what they say when they come out and they say, all I want is not to be discriminated against. That's all I want.
And nobody wants
I don't want any bigotry for some, hardware, like what Dennis Murray would call a hardware situation with my being, right?
Yeah.
They should have every right. The problem is there's a certain subset of this movement now who is, you hit the nail on the head. There's a certain subset that says, you know what? No, it's not good enough to not be discriminated against, because if I'm treated like everyone else, how am I special?
Well,
how am I better than you? How will everyone know that I'm better than you, right? Unless I get my own celebration.
If your identity is tied strictly to your sexual orientation, you're doing it wrong.
You already have a
the
problem.
People that hurts the most, the people that truly, like you said, just want to live their lives.
Exactly.
I don't want to come out here and I don't have to have a parade.
And we know them. They're colleagues of ours. They live in our communities, right? They're I've worked in media and video production for a decade.
But it's these people that give them a bad name that want to go out there and be like, look at me how I'm different, because I can't do anything else that would get me noticed. So I have to tie my whole identity into being a certain sexual subset. That's what blows my mind. Because to me, I'm not saying you're not gay, but it feels like you're trying to turn it into something that does separate you, that does make you different, that does make you more special than everybody else. Just live your life. Go to the game. Love who you want to love. Just people don't have a problem. More people don't have a problem with who you love as opposed to having it forced down your throat. I don't go to the games and they're doing it against liberty.
That's the thing. This isn't just someday. This was calculated. It's against a Christian university. This is clearly an attack on Christianity, which it seems like everything's off limits to criticize in the world today, except Christianity. You can attack that all you want. But what I found really funny is this player is wearing a cross.
Yeah,
shame.
is it?
No, it doesn't make. I mean, it doesn't.
What are
make
we
sense.
doing?
Just notice me. That's what
Yeah.
it is. Notice me. Tell me I'm okay. Whatever I say, you have to agree with, or you're what? You're just a bigot. That's all y'all. So I don't even worry about this. This is the thing about America. If you think people out here just are slandering LGBTQ plus members or gay members, they're not.
No.
Like most of them, it just want to be normal. It says we're in America. I can be who I want to be. You can be who you want to be. We can both leave each other alone, and it can be fine.
Yeah.
America's been doing this for years and years. So give me liberty plus minus 46.
Yeah, when you're not talented at other things, and I'll keep saying this, and you have your whole identity is wrapped up in who you sleep with, that's a you problem. That's not a me problem. That's for heterosexual, homosexual. You love your washer. You're in love with a TP. I don't know. That's for
TP.
everybody. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's I forgot the name for it, but
You gotta
there's
stay
a
warm
term for it. That is true. But let's move on. This is just the dumbest thing ever.
All right. What are we doing? Booster Club?
I don't know. What do you
saying?
point at me and what do you say? All right, what do y'all want? You want a little booster club or what do y'all want?
I'm pointing at you.
Rich Castle, nice. I wish I had one.
That's
what has UMass done since Marcus Camby was there? Not much.
Nothing. They're ass. You'll figure that out.
Okay, let's go to J Chain. What if Arch loses the Heisman to a Michigan football player? How will you feel?
I see what he's doing there. He's doing a whole Peyton Charles Woodson situation. I'm with you, and I wouldn't mind it.
Yeah.
Okay. It's Travis Elrod, hashtag Ask Crane and Company. Would
funniest
Arch
thing.
Manning have been recruited as heavy if his last name wasn't Manning?
No.
Get
not-
Mike Farrell on.
Yeah. Not as heavy. He would still be. Look, Arch is going to be a good player. We know he's talented. But being a Manning, there's stuff that comes with it. I mean, you're held to the standard. That's like being, if like, remember Richie Rich's family. You're supposed to take over the hotel monarchy at the end.
Yeah, and one point on that I think that is important is also with the Manning name comes the exposure. He could be the exact same quarterback, right? And I'm not necessarily saying that there is a fraudulent grading system. Like you could have the same guys watch him no matter what his last name is and give him the same grade. But when your last name is Manning, people are able to see you come up from 5th grade, 6th grade, through middle school, into high school. They're able to watch you longer and get a larger sample size, which also helps with their grade of you.
True. One more and we'll get to a wrap.
All right, Conehead, hashtag Ask Crane and Company. Who is worse? Kirk Cousins in prime time or Jackson Mahomes?
Jackson Mahomes.
Come on. Don't
There's
do that
only
to
5
Kirk
people in
Cousins.
history that are worse than Jackson Mahomes.
Don't do that to
Kirk Cousins isn't one of them.
Oh, God, so awesome just to see all this in the chat from like the beginning. Just Kirk Cousins mid-jokes, Kirk Cousins mid-jokes. It started yesterday during the game. I didn't even notice I pulled up Twitter. It's just a bunch of tweets about how Kirk Cousins was so mid. It was just awesome to see. I was pretty stoked about it.
I still don't think he's mid. He'll get it done. Prime time eventually.
Yeah, I had him ranked 10 with Deshaun Watson not being ranked, so that would put him 11th, right?
I had him
If
11th.
mid is 15th, 4 spots.
He's high mid.
Yeah, he's high mid.
He's high mid.
That's the poll. Is
He's
Kirk
high mid.
Cousins below mid, or above average?
Really?
okay.
You
So
didn't
you
put
put up
high
both.
mid though?
Nice.
No,
High mid's
Booster
a
Club.
term I want to adopt. I want to.
You want to adopt that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's get the papers.
Get the patent?
It's the papers.
Maybe.
All right, let's get around.
All right, rapid fire. Braves second baseman Ozzie Albies fractured his right pinky. Jake, one day after coming off the IL, he will miss the rest of the regular season. I'm heartbroken. Yeah, me too.
One day.
One
Yeah.
day.
One day.
This is pinky.
You come back for
Can't
one
play.
day. Cut it off. Cut it off. Hey, that's my favorite notebook.
Okay, my bad. I thought it was like a
Let's
group thing.
celebrate it.
You're right. You're right.
I hate it for Ozzie Albies. Thank goodness Von Grissom came up and just figured it out. We brought another one of the angels from the outfield. I hate it for Ozzie, and I hate it for the Braves, but he could possibly return during the postseason. It's just, how ready are you going to be? We don't have time for you to get ready during the post, especially during the
sure.
wild card,
Yeah.
which we better not be in the wild card. But if we are, I'm not going to be super pissed about it, but I'm not going to be super excited about it.
Yeah.
So Ozzie, heal up. Let's put that pinky. Look, it's 2022. Can we 3D print this thing? Can we just not
Cut it off.
Cut it off, 3D print it back. Why can we not do that?
Yeah, for
I feel
sure.
like that's a thing.
Yeah, I agree.
Oh,
Totally.
man.
I'll figure it out.
Kyler Murray was slapped by a fan. Did you guys see this the other day?
Hey,
This is
how dare you hit
by
a
a
kid?
fan
How
after
dare you
the
hit a kid
comeback
on the
victory.
field?
First off, that's my fantasy quarterback. Hold on, Doug.
It's my quarterback.
I'm trying not to get upset over here. This is my fantasy quarterback. You don't put your hands on my fantasy quarterback. I'm gonna find this person, and there's gonna be repercussions Thanks for the second half, Kyler. Let's run the clip. Little Ewok running over here. Get him, yeah. What's up, Vegas? We just won our fantasy game. That's right. Oh, somebody just slapped him in the face. You see him?
We have a slow motion.
Yeah, we're going to get a slow motion. Like, everybody thought he was, like, celebrating with Kyler, and somebody actually slapped him while he's getting flicked off. Listen, here's my thing. You go celebrate. You can see it, too.
I don't think he meant to.
Do you think he meant to?
You think he was just an Arizona fan?
He's an Arizona fan.
He's an Arizona, and he was trying to get a high five like the first
He was trying
guy?
to slap his shoulder
You
pad.
blew it.
I don't believe you, but it is possible.
In the slow-mo
It's
version,
possible.
you can watch he's trying to celebrate him with the whole time.
Run that again. Run that again.
Look, you got to be more athletic than this.
Like,
Let's run it again.
there's a 20-second version after this. A dude's trying to hit him on the shoulder pads, a bunch of stuff.
Let's run it again. Let's see. Let's really break
down.
down the footage here. It's the Pruder film.
It's
stuff.
unathletic. Look how stoked he is.
Oh, yeah. He did not mean to say
I was pretty excited. All right.
He was trying to high five. This is the
Yeah.
drunkest high five
The
ever.
Cardinals fan.
He was
You
trying to
get
high
one
five him.
chance.
Yeah.
You think about this. You're an Arizona Cardinals fan. I know Arizona and Nevada aren't that far away from each other, but you spend the money after that just ugly start. Don't look good. Don't have any weapons. Hopkins is out for a while. Rondale Moore is just over there stretching the whole time. You're like, you know what? I'm going to go to the game anyway.
Yeah.
You go to the game. You're playing like trash,
Yeah.
really. We are who I thought we
beat.
were. I'm just going to drink a little bit, enjoy the rest of the time. Then all of a sudden,
Yep.
that crazy game happens. You're there. You're excited. Kyler Murray, the franchise, Mr. Call of Duty is coming over there, and you just want to give him a high five. And not only do you miss, a lot of people miss Kyler Murray.
You just missed. Yeah.
Kyler Murray's
yeah.
a hard guy to wrap up. Watch. He had a 20-second play in that game. Did y'all see that?
Yeah.
The
he ran 85 yards on that
two-point
play.
conversion.
Ran 85 yards.
20 seconds in a play is forever. And y'all offensive guys take a long time in 7-on-7. It's the longest 4-count ever. But imagine that. Imagine that 4 or 5
complain
times.
some more.
But there's been a lot of guys that have tried to tackle Kyler Murray. You're just trying to high five him. And not only do you miss your one shining moment, right? It's your chance. Not only do you miss, you slap him.
Slap him right in the face. Let's go back even further.
It was fingers on the face.
Let's give this guy a whole backstory. Let's say he's an Oklahoma fan, right? He's an Oklahoma fan and a Cardinals fan, and he was saying, you know what, Cardinals, you should take Kyler Murray. Yes, you should take Kyler Murray first overall. He's going to save the franchise. Then he decided to go to that game. He gets one shot. You slapped him in the face.
You grew up in an orphanage. You
made
were
the
an
ultimate
Oklahoma
mistake.
and an Arizona Cardinals.
Yes.
The ultimate mistake.
And somehow
He has a whole backstory now.
This has some superhero origin story stuff written all over it. And you touch Kyler Murray.
If
How much
Batman's
better
not
are you now?
Hold on. If Batman's not a superhero, how's he going to be one? That's what you said.
Kyler Murray is way
Batman.
more of a superhero than Batman will ever be.
Oh, I thought you were talking about the fan.
No, I am talking about the fan. The fan. I thought we were talking
Green
about
Hawk?
Kyler Murray. Because what I'm saying is
Quail Man?
What I'm saying is
Quail Man? What is
if
that?
a spider
No.
if a spider bite can turn Peter Parker into Spider-Man, what does touching Kyler Murray's face turn you into?
Yeah. A lot of good questions here.
That's
a lot
a real
of good
question.
stuff.
I think that's how Venom started.
Guys, that was good.
That was good.
Well done.
I appreciate that.
Astros pitcher Framber Valdez.
Yes.
Is that
That's right.
Framber Valdez sets MLB single season record with his 25th straight quality start. Jake, what is a quality start?
A quality start when two people love each other, they hug for.
there
No,
we
I'm
go.
sorry, it's a different thing. Sorry, my mom was off for that. A quality start is when a pitcher goes at least 6 innings and gives up 3 earned runs or less.
Pretty good.
You should win that game. 6 innings, going in the 7th, 3 runs or less. We ought to be able to put at least 3. We ought to be at least tied to give you a chance. That's what a quality start is, to give you a chance to win the game. Unless you're the Mets, and then when DeGrom and Scherzer pitches, you only score 1 or 2 runs because you're like that.
Scherzer with a
That's
no-no.
all we need. Scherzer's nasty.
Through 6, they pulled him, but he had a no-no through
I was
6.
gonna say.
Cat eyes.
That's, yeah.
It's the truth.
Not
But
a
no,
complete game, though.
25 quality starts.
Still a no-no, though.
Yeah.
You know what we call that? Efficiency. That's an
Efficiency.
employee that I'd love to have. Bringing quality every day. Well, every
Quail Man?
3rd, 4th day.
Man, look, we have to talk about the Savannah Bananas. I don't know. Do we
Why are
have
you
this
now
clip?
upset about this?
Huh?
This has been going on for a while.
We have to talk about the Savannah.
Yeah.
I'll tell you why I'm a little bit upset is because this is where I grew up. Okay? This
No,
is
I
my
get it.
hometown.
I get
and
it.
I grew up going to see the Savannah Sandgnats. The Sandgnats baseball team. Out of nowhere, we put out a poll in the city, like what should the baseball team change their name to? And they decide on the Savannah Bananas. That's strike 1. Strikes 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 are this.
Let's go ahead and play it. This is such an embarrassment.
Dude, look at the umpire. The umpire's getting in on it.
He really is. Are you serious?
They're all dancing, Blaine.
This is even bad. Like, they're twerking and stuff at the game.
Here's the only good thing about this video.
That it ends?
You made the catch.
No, like this is done like this. Like, you think that's mediocre, realistically, what they've done. Like, they're twerking on second base. Like, they're trying to turn it into the Globetrotters, but it's lamer, right? This is TikTok. This is TikTok. This is what TikTok is doing to our society. We're watching people play baseball. There's grown men.
Are we watching them play baseball? That's not baseball.
There's grown men twerking at shortstop during a baseball game.
Look, I'm all for people having a good time, going to the ballpark, enjoying the game. You know, fathers and sons, pimentos and cheese, stuff like that. This is not baseball. This is a minor league organization. These are guys that are trying to make the major leagues. And I know minor league baseball, cheap beer, right? Sausage costume races. Everybody in the town gets together and talks trash about everybody else. But this is an embarrassment in the game.
It's not baseball. Bring back the sand nets.
That's, you know, again, it's one thing to have, you know, the guy dancing in between innings and stuff like that. But this is just making a mockery of the game. I mean, and I know baseball is trying to market itself, and I know this is kind of an isolated thing with Savannah, but if I'm a professional, if I'm if I'm the shortstop for the Savannah Bananas, and I'm trying to make a roster, I don't want to be out there twerking like Missy Elliott on shortstop. Like, I need to get ready for this next play.
That's such a good point.
What happens if I'm the third baseman, I'm out there, I'm like, it's law, and like they're playing Yo Gotti, and then the ball's thrown, he hits a laser beam that hits me right in the head.
No, that's a good point. These guys are still trying to make the
I'm so what's going to happen now when one of y'all makes the big leagues, and all of a sudden there's video of you, you know, flopping it and dropping it.
Maybe this will become the big league
flopping
soon.
it.
Maybe this is the future of Major League Baseball. Is this the future of Major League Baseball here?
No.
Huh?
No.
I hope not.
I gave you all the way to market yourselves, and you just don't want to do it.
Flopping it and dropping
Steroids and fights.
Steroids and fights. I mean, we all saw how much cooler did the Bucs Saints game get immediately after old boy got into it. It was a great game, but after that, elite game. Elite game. Let them fight, sit for a drive.
Blaine's answer to everything is to let him.
It makes every sport better. It makes every sport better. Fighting will make every sport better.
Bucs games instantly.
Soccer. I started watching soccer. Let them kick. Let them clean each other.
Wouldn't.
Yeah, I would.
No, you wouldn't.
Yeah, it's almost like, you know how they get on the horses and they have the pole when they go down the
jousting.
Each other?
You talking about jousting?
Well, you have two soccer players get 20
again?
yards away and run each other and jump with their cleats up and see who wins.
First of all, that's funny, and I would watch jousting.
Human cleating.
Human cleating. Then let's get back to it. Kick it around. Fight.
No, hold on. It's not even 8 o'clock, and we just invented a sport.
I know.
You're welcome.
Like,
You're welcome.
cleaning.
Stop dancing.
All right, last one
Whatever
before I share my thoughts on my fantasy performance. Dennis Schroeder signs with the Lakers.
You hated this.
First thing that came out of your mouth.
I don't hate it
first
because
thing that
I
came out
don't
of
want
your
the
mouth-
Lakers to win.
Yeah.
Congrats.
Okay, that's
Be on the
it.
We
target.
were talking about this show. The first thing that came out of Cone's mouth yesterday, we said this was, man, that guy sucks.
I lost it when you said that.
I told you that in
deep
private.
down.
I told you that in
Yeah,
confidence.
Cone, who deep down really doesn't care about the NBA as much, was instantly not a Dennis Schroeder fan. You know what?
Because he was with the Hawks.
But
like,
he
you're
could
gonna
be
ball
their
out ball with
Rondo.
the Hawks.
He could be their Rondo, right?
Yeah, for
play
sure.
Westbrook.
I just can't wait for Russell to miss a bunch of shots this
Can't
year,
wait
then blame somebody else.
I can't wait for Russell to take a bunch
Like, man,
of
this
shots.
fan looked at me for too long.
This man called me West Brick.
Yeah. He's like, I hate when people do that. He's going down the court calling people babies. Like, I'm like, come on, man. Like, come on, dude. Just pass it to LeBron. Hey, Anthony, you gonna play this year? Anthony Davis? He's already hurt.
His foot's already
He walks
hurt.
into like the locker room like first day, first practice. Like, Anthony's like, man, I'm hurt.
He's like, my foot.
He's
I'm
like,
hanging
Brownie
out with
steps
Greg.
on the court. He's like, oh God, no.
He's fine until the minute his
Too
foot
much.
touches
Yeah.
hardwood.
Yeah.
He's the
Every year.
Greg Oden of our
He's so
time.
good too.
Speaking of not good, I thought this Eli Manning thing. What were your thoughts?
Oh, you like this? Are you talking about Chad? Talking about Chad Powers?
Look,
Chad Powers,
how do you
man.
not know this is Eli?
They had
is
to know.
Eli Manning
Showing up at
This
Penn
has to be
State.
That guy right there, I can look at the screen and be like, that guy on the left knows
The one on the
that's
left,
Yeah.
he does. Look at
Well,
him.
the
He's
guy-
looking.
well,
He's like, something's
that's
not
Eli
right.
Manning.
I feel like the guy in the middle is trying to get the ring from Frodo.
Yeah,
Play
what's
this real
that guy
quick. Play
hiding?
this.
What's he hiding? Jeez.
Let's go ahead and run the tape. This is Eli Manning.
And then just confirm you'll be trying out
Chad
quarterback today.
Powers. First of all, no one has hair.
Chad Powers.
These QB's okay? No. I'll find out in 10 minutes.
Chad Powers.
That's Eli Manning.
He looks like he's
Eli Manning.
50.
Yeah. If that dude is college age, like Chris Hansen needs to be called.
Look at you.
Spun it.
It's like he even throws
that
like
hair.
Eli
Hair.
Manning.
Look at that hair.
I was like, there's no way. I was like, this guy's from Hills Have Eyes.
He said in there, he said, if Tom Brady can play till he's 44, I can play in college at 27.
Yeah, he looks like
Well, Sean Clifford, the quarterback for Penn State's already 27.
That is true.
Eli Manning was the
Is
second
Eli
youngest
winning
guy
that job?
there.
Would Eli win that job
where?
at Penn State right now?
Yes, it's Eli Manning. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, he
But how do you
I
not know
wanted to
that?
get
Like
you
the one
fired up.
Chris-
I wanted to get you to say something nice about Sean Clifford.
The one Chris Bryant
played
did
well
with
against
the
Auburn.
JUCO
I mean, that's really
stuff.
good.
The one Chris Bryant did with the JUCO baseball
was the
stuff
best.
That
was
was good.
undercover, and you can tell.
That
it's
was the
obviously
Those
Eli
kids were
Manning.
legit like, man, I'm not going to play.
Like the minute if I was at that practice, I would look at me like, that's Eli Manning doing a fake.
yeah.
He's-
Yeah,
pretending to be
first of all,
somebody.
no one has hair like that. Two, that's Eli Manning.
is Austin
Three,
Powers'
He just
son,
looks like the
Chad.
guy like at the house in like the middle of Kentucky. It's 1 o'clock at night. You break down. You need gas. You have to go knock on
That's
that door.
him.
That's what walks out.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, here, come to the back. Next thing you know, you're tied up. You have
Watch-
the alligators and like
Let's hide behind the
things of
chainsaws.
gasoline. So yeah, it's not a good look. Hills Have Eyes.
All right, let's get this fantasy update.
All right.
Bets.
Fantasy. It's taken me an hour and a half just to emotionally, be able to get into this.
You want me
0-2, not a good start.
Wow.
Blaine beat me last night. And I'll tell you, I try not to get too invested in fantasy football. I try not to tie my emotions to grown
Tough.
men who are just going and doing their job. But I'll tell you why this one hurt last night. I'll tell you especially why
I know
this
why.
one hurt, okay? Because for the last year, I've had to listen
okay.
to this guy talk about Jalen Hurts in a negative way.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Really a
For
five-word sentence every time. I don't believe in Jalen Hurts. Who had the Eagles
To
winning their
win
division?
what? To win. No,
This is
you're
my
not finishing the
cathartic
sentence.
experience.
You're not
This is
finishing
my
it.
cathartic
Don't see it
experience.
in me.
Who had
Don't
the Eagles
see it in
winning
me.
the NFC?
To win a what?
He needs this.
To win a
Jake,
division.
He needs this.
Would you please?
To win
I
a
need this.
division.
Would
He
you
needs
be
it.
the judge in this
Stop.
situation?
Yes.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Who had the Eagles
Go
winning their division, Jake? Right here. Okay? And you had the Cowboys because you don't believe in Jalen Hurts. As if he's the tooth fairy and you're now an adolescent. You don't believe in him anymore.
tooth fairy
Then
sound
you
good.
go and draft him on your fantasy team, and then of all the times to prove you wrong, he goes and does that against me. And you know what makes matters worse? Second,
Yeah.
who was my breakout player of the year?
Yeah.
I said Devontae Smith's going to break out, have a
dropped
big
him.
season. Got 0 points for me in the first week. We only have limited roster spots. I had to move on. Picked up Curtis Samuel. He picks him up. The guy has 15 points. And you know what? You know what saved this guy right here from having to wear an Alabama jersey on this show? Two Alabama players.
The
So I think
ultimate
at
irony.
the very least you could
that's
do
true.
right now with Jalen Hurts and Devontae Smith, the very least you could do with them saving your game this week is to give them a roll tide.
Oh, no. I'll never
Okay.
do that.
Well, we'll remember that.
Yeah, that's fine. Look. First of all, like, you did your job, right? That's what Jalen, I drafted for a reason. And the thing about Jalen, what have I said about Jalen? I just didn't think he was an elite thrower. All right, and I'll sit here and say that.
I don't think he's an elite thrower right now, but he's good enough.
Well, yeah. Well, I think he's gotten
thrower is
better
Ryan
from last year.
Tannehill.
He's already grown from last year. He's going through progressions. That offensive line is looking really good. He has a lot of time in the pocket. But the thing about it is this. I look back at Devontae Smith. You go back to the Lions when they played last year. He had, like, one of his earliest games did not play well. I don't know if it's kind of schematically, if it doesn't line up good. I know they didn't have A.J. Brown, but they didn't have a lot of catches. But I still believe that they would have to go out of their way to get the ball to Devontae at least some. Because he's still one of the, he's a
You're
early
paying him that
draft
much
pick.
money. You can't
You're
go
paying
get
him all
0
that. They got to
catches
give him
a
the ball. But, I'm surprised, realistically, I won this week, man. I had a lot of people beat up. I mean, played Chase Claypool, Myles Gaskins, and had to pick up Devontae Smith. So it was a hard-fought week. I still think both teams will be good. But I'm glad I won. I did not want to wear an Alabama jersey. We're getting an Ohio State jersey ordered today for you, Cone.
Are we?
So
I'm not buying it.
No, you're not. But you're
But I
wearing
will.
it.
All right, guys, that's
bet.
enough about y'all's
You're wearing
matchup.
it. So, hey,
All right.
GG's, man. GG's.
Yeah, no, it was a good matchup. Look at this. Me and Walsh were in an absolute war. I won 154.08 to 154.02.
Are you kidding me?
Because the Booster Club is the difference. We had sweet, and look, we love Sweet Baby Gang. We're cousins in, Elfgard or whatever. Y'all like the city right next to us. We'll squat up if we have to.
In
Stop the orcs.
Elfgard.
All right. But We played against each other. Derrick Henry. I needed 12 points. Or no, I needed 11.46 points from Derrick Henry. Wasn't going good. Well, early scores a touchdown first drive. Instantly 7 points, feeling real good about it. Game continues to go on, feeling worse about it. He's not, he'd get 4 yards and lose 4 yards, like I said. We go into halftime. Picked up the phone, called him. Derrick, hey, coach, what's up? No, I'm struggling out there. Hey, dog, I need 9.5 yards. I need 9 yards from you. All right, coach, I got you. I promise. You promise me, Derrick? Yeah, I got you, coach. I promise you. What does he do? Last carry, he's in. You're down 34-7. It's bleak. It's ugly. Should we really still be in there? Last possession at Tannehill and Derrick Henry in there. We run a little outside zone. He picks up 9.5, fellas. 9.5 to get the win. 1-1. We're back to it. Shapiro, I got you this week. Me and you. Corn Pop's a bad dude. Well, I'm bringing him back. I've already reached out to him. Corn Pop will be in studio Friday. He's a bad dude. Anybody
it's just
that knows.
fun. I love these guys did this for me.
Clavin's 2-0. What's going on?
Look, what can you say?
The auto draft special. Beat Team Knowles. Man, Michael, all that trash talk.
I haven't seen you in the chat.
I haven't seen you in the chat, Mike. I haven't seen you on your YouTube.
I didn't see a tweet. I didn't see a tweet.
I didn't see
what happened?
130 points.
What happened?
Remember, I had my first beer.
People don't forget.
Hey, Clavin's low-key nasty.
He is.
Told you. His team is
low-key.
The team that I looked down the list after we drafted, I said if I had to have another team, it would be Clavin's.
Yeah, you know what the saddest part was? If I would have played Aaron Jones this week instead of Antonio Gibson or Derrick Henry, I could have gotten close to 200 points. Could have gotten close. That's how good we're playing. But Shapiro beat John Bickley. Bickley beat me the first week on some lucky fluke stuff that we don't want to talk about. Ben's 2-0. Now, it wasn't a great offensive performance. Bickley got under 90 points. If you can't beat that, then I don't even know why you're playing. But Shapiro, 130, steady, complimentary football, did a good job picking. I've watched him. He's made some moves, too. You really watch and you see who's making.
Yeah, don't let him fool you.
Yeah, don't let him fool you.
Don't think
Shapiro tried to sandbag us a little bit. Oh, who is this guy? What's his name?
They're out here talking about Senate seats and what's going on with the Queen, that they're not on the availability wire trying to figure out what it's looking like.
That don't lie. The transaction wire doesn't lie.
Competitors are competitor, and these guys are competitors.
That's exactly right, and that's why it's so much fun, but we're really enjoying it. All right, got to get to bets real quick.
Yep, let's do it.
I'm going to walk over to the board of extreme prejudice / truth and justice.
Lincoln Mets, $4.99 state donation. Jake, if you improve your speed like Mr. Kittrell asks, would you be a Savannah Bananas best player on the roster right now? And also, how can I be a guest?
No. Number one, I would not dance for the Savannah Bananas. I wouldn't. I promise you I would not do that.
Oh, okay.
I'm trying to think who that. Read me the name again.
Mr. Kittrell?
No. What's the name of the handle?
Lincoln Mets.
Who is that? Is it Hook? Maybe my boy Brad Hook. I don't know. I gotta see. It's that or McCool.
Yeah.
Buddy Blake McCool. All right, here's what we got today. Last night. Don't want to talk about it.
What'd you go?
It's tight. Tried hard.
Okay.
Give me the Padres, Cardinals, Nerfy. That's a no-run first inning. For those that don't know. -135. Then give me the Nats, Braves, Nerfy, -110. Charlie Morton, Patrick Corbin, no runs in the first inning. Please, guys, Giants. What do you got, Cody?
I'm going to stick with the Braves, too. -1.5 at -155. Like you said, Charlie Morton on the mound.
The witch.
The playoff race is heating up, right? Everyone, you're giving your best stuff. All right, I want to see that
Savannah Bananas in out there?
Huh?
You dancing?
Stop it. Okay, stop it.
Dr. Strange me.
Stop it.
Put it down.
Cleveland.
Do it. Dr. Strange.
Cleveland and Chicago. Nerfy, no runs first inning. Those odds just came out, Jake. -145.
Okay.
Mark me down.
Are you marking that down?
I'm marking that down. It is marked down. Blaine, say your bets.
You meet me halfway?
Huh?
Okay, this in a Black Eyed Peas.
Right at the borderline. Okay, give me the A's, Mariners, Nerfy. God, why am I betting baseball? There should be football on every day.
I know. I'm with you.
A's, Mariners, Nerfy, -158. Who cares? All right, give me the Cubs, Marlins, Nerfy, -162. Who cares? Why am I not betting football?
I care.
About baseball?
Sure.
No, you don't.
I care about hitting my picks.
Well, you know
I care
they pay
about helping
Paradise.
make the Booster Club money.
Put up a parking lot. All right, Baby
33 and
Cone.
27, I'll take
He's going to be bet buds with Blaine. They're holding hands, going to the park. Uncle Blaine, bet bud situation.
Hey, Ace.
He's going to take the Mariners A's Nerfy minus 158. Then Ace is going to take the Mets money line. David, talk to your son.
No.
The Mets money line
love
minus 110. We don't need
I
any
love
Mets
it.
money line winning right now. The Braves do have that series at the end with them.
That's going to be a crazy
That is going
series,
to be
man. That's what's going to decide it right there.
Strap me in.
Yeah. Where's it at?
Atlanta.
It's in Atlanta.
Where the players play. Poll.
Poll, is
Poll.
Kirk Cousins above average, mid, or below mid?
Mid, 47%.
I know they all said mid. Oh, and it was a three-way, so mid. I'll still go mid, 52%.
Okay. What'd you say?
47.
All right, below mid, 16%. Above average, 18%. Mid, 66%.
Wow.
There you go.
Y'all hate Kirk
The
Cousins,
recency bias
man.
in the chat, man.
That's ridiculous. All right, parting thoughts real quick before we ride?
It's a hard fought one, Dave.
In the
It's a
midst of
hard fought. I
Babylon?
enjoyed it.
I did.
I enjoyed it.
I thought fantasy football was supposed to be fun.
It is fun.
It's not even
I get to see you in Ohio State jersey in a couple
zero
days. That's gonna be so
fun, sir.
That's going to be so fun.
I think you guys both fought valiantly.
Thank you.
On the field.
We did.
Great.
I didn't feel
Great.
great about it early. I'm going to be honest. I mean, you have Eckler come out, Chiefs running back come out. Next thing you know, Nick Chubb scores 3 times. Thank God for Cooper Kupp.
Jalen Hurts what saved you.
Thank God for Cooper Kupp. Well, Matt Stafford gets in the red zone. He's like, here, Cooper.
And I had Matt Stafford.
Exactly.
It's the ultimate handcuff. We got a 50 Shades of Grey situation going on.
Wow.
All right, appreciate you guys. Make sure you follow us, like, and subscribe on this video. Check us out tomorrow morning. Appreciate Big Game Boomer. Have a good show. Billy Lucci coming on tomorrow to talk some Texas A&M
Luch.
and why Max Johnson should have always been the guy. Make sure you check us out. And just like the chances of the Titans winning the Super Bowl,
Trash.
we're going. Gone.